Naval Cadets thought she was lost until her rank made them freeze. A storm hit the academy that day, not from the sky, but from the past. One woman no one recognized, and one rank no one was allowed to say. When the ship activated a protocol older than any cadet, they learned the truth. She didn't return to be welcomed. She returned because someone was coming to finish what they started. The rain hadn't stopped for hours, turning the Navy training pier into a blur of silver reflections and restless wind. But the Naval Cadets still lined up, stiff, perfect, terrified, because Admiral Pierce himself was expected to inspect the Academy's newest destroyer, NSF Asterion. No one noticed the lone woman standing at the far end of the pier. She wasn't wearing cadet blues. She wasn't wearing officer whites. She wasn't even dressed like someone who belonged anywhere near military grounds. Just a faded storm jacket, torn at the sleeve, boots stained with salt, shoulders weighed down by a small black duffel, and eyes that looked like they had memorized every tide the ocean had ever pulled. Cadet Rowan Hayes nudged the girl next to him. "Who let her in? Civilians aren't allowed on inspection day." Cadet Tessa Briggs frowned. "I don't know. She looks lost." Lost. That was the only word anyone could think of. She stood with her back straight, but something about her posture felt fractured, like someone who had spent years running from a past that refused to stay buried. "Should we tell someone?" Briggs whispered. Before Rowan could answer, Chief Instructor Mallory stormed past the rows. "Eyes front! Nobody moves unless spoken to!" The cadets snapped to attention, but the woman didn't move, didn't speak, didn't blink. She simply stared at Asterion, the brand new vessel the cadets had spent months training around. A ship no civilian should even know existed, let alone approach. Mallory finally noticed her. "You! This pier is restricted. Identify yourself." The woman lifted her gaze, calm, unshaken by the authority blazing toward her. "I need to board that destroyer." Every cadet stiffened. Mallory's jaw tightened. "You need to leave immediately." "I can't," she said quietly. Her voice wasn't trembling, wasn't hesitant, but there was something buried in it, something heavy enough to make half the cadets shift uncomfortably, though they didn't know why. "Ma'am," Mallory repeated, "you will step back now. This is an active military inspection." The woman's fingers tightened on her duffel strap. "I didn't come for the inspection." The wind hit suddenly, snapping signal flags, rattling chains, rolling a deep echo across the hull of Asterion. Rowan swallowed. "Why do I feel like this is about to go very bad?" Cadet Briggs whispered. "Because she's not scared. People who aren't scared of Mallory are dangerous." Before anyone could act, a chime sounded from the destroyer's gangway. A biometric scanner woke up, unprompted, lights flickering, panels sliding open. That had never happened before. Cadets turned in confusion. Even Mallory hesitated. "Who triggered that?" he barked. No one answered. The scanner projected a thin blue beam outward, pointed directly at the woman. Rowan whispered, "No way. Is it scanning her?" Everyone expected alarms. Instead, the destroyer's speakers crackled, and a single sentence emerged in a voice the cadets had only heard during top-level security drills. "Awaiting verification. Command tier identification required." Gasps erupted across the formation. Command tier? That rank didn't belong anywhere near cadets, instructors, or strangers in battered jackets. Mallory spun toward her. "What is this? Who are you?" The woman didn't raise her voice. "I didn't come to cause trouble, but the ship knows why I'm here." Rowan felt a chill shoot down his spine. Ships didn't know things. Ships responded to program triggers. Ships required authentication chains. But the scanner brightened, almost like recognition. Mallory stepped forward. "You will tell me your name. Right now." The woman exhaled slowly, as if she had dreaded this moment for years. "I can't give you a name you're cleared to know," the cadets murmured. Mallory's patience snapped. "Then you're being detained until—" The ship interrupted him. Screens on the hull lit up, every external monitor, every panel, every projection surface. Lines of encrypted red text scrolled fast, faster than cadet-level systems had ever displayed. Access query initiated, searching classified databases, reactivating archived personnel file, code level, Obsidian. Briggs grabbed Rowan's arm. "Rowan? Obsidian? That's black code, the kind of authorization that belongs to—" "Legends," Rowan finished. "And ghosts." The wind howled as if the ocean itself knew what was coming. Suddenly, the screens froze. A single line of text burned across them, sharp, brutal, impossible. Identity found. Status returned. Every cadet stared, every officer froze. Even Mallory's voice died in his throat. The woman finally stepped forward. The ship scanned her face, slowly, almost reverently. A mechanical chime echoed across the pier. Identity confirmed. A second line scrolled out, one that made every cadet's blood run cold. "Welcome aboard, termed Captain Rhea Calder." Silence swallowed the entire pier. A cadet dropped his clipboard. Another forgot how to breathe. Captain Rhea Calder. A name that had disappeared from naval archives nearly a decade ago. A name spoken in training rooms like a myth. A commander who vanished during a classified deep ocean recovery mission no one had ever explained. They didn't call her missing. They called her lost. Rowan's voice cracked. She's dead. She has to be dead. They told us her last transmission was cut off, unrecoverable, untraceable. But she stood there, alive, breathing, walking toward the gangway like she belonged to the ship more than anyone else present. Mallory staggered back. No, this can't be real. Captain Calder was declared unrecoverable. There were no survivors. The Navy conducted a 6-month search. She didn't deny it. She just murmured, "Yes, they searched." "And found nothing," Mallory whispered. "Because," she said, her voice finally cracking with something buried too deep to name, "they weren't supposed to find me." The cadets felt something shift in the air, like the ocean held its breath. She stepped onto the first rung of the gangway. The ship responded instantly. Lights snapped to attention. Hatches sealed. Engines hummed under the deck plates, even though no one had powered them. Captain Calder paused. Her eyes scanned the cadets. Stunned. Frozen. Cadets who thought she was a ghost walking out of an unsolved tragedy. She spoke only one sentence. A sentence that sliced through the storm and turned the entire academy silent. Everything they told you about my disappearance was a lie. And before the instructors could regain control, before the alarms finished starting up, the destroyer executed a sequence no cadet had ever seen. A restricted pre-launch lock, one that only one person in the world was coded to trigger. Her. Captain Rhea Calder boarded the ship. The gangway sealed automatically behind her. The cadets remained frozen, not by orders, but by the realization the most classified disappearance in naval history had just walked back into their world, and she wasn't done yet. For a long second, the world around the cadets stood completely still, not because of her words, not because she had returned from somewhere no one returned from, but because the ship, the flagship of the Academy's fleet, reacted to her presence before any officer could. The deck vibrated, a low pulse rolling through the metal. The cadets backed away, confusion twisting into fear as the massive training cruiser Aquila powered down every non-essential system, except one. A single spotlight snapped on, shining directly on her. Cadet Rowan whispered, "She's not lost. The ship was looking for her." Before he could say more, the primary display on the bulkhead flickered to life. Red text scrolled across the screen, crisp and absolute. "Access override. Rank classified. Requesting Commander Lyra Vale." A wave of shocked murmurs rippled through the formation. Commander Lyra Vale. A name that had been erased from every briefing, every training simulation, every history lesson told to them, because it belonged to an officer the Navy had declared dead. Cadet Avery's jaw trembled. But Commander Vale died during Operation Harpsight, the mission nobody is supposed to talk about. Lyra stepped forward, her boots striking the deck with calm certainty. "I didn't die," she said. "I was removed." Before the cadets could absorb that, the ship's internal comms crackled, harsh, scrambled, like someone trying to smother a transmission. "Vale, you were warned never to return." The cadets flinched. The voice wasn't coming from the Aquila. It was coming from an external channel, one no training vessel should ever connect to. Lyra's expression hardened, memories flashing in her eyes like lightning behind clouds. "You shouldn't have followed me here." The screen split into a tactical feed. A shape appeared on the radar, sleek, silent, impossible. A Shadow-class frigate, off the grid, unmarked. Cadet Rowan whispered, "What is that ship doing this close to the academy?" Lyra didn't look away from the screen. "Hunting me." The captain of the Aquila, Commander Rourke, rushed onto the deck, breathless and pale. "Vale? That can't be." "It is," she said. "And if you want your cadets alive, you'll listen." The enemy frigate surged forward. Its first warning shot sliced across the water, a perfectly measured threat. Cadets scattered in terror. The Aquila tried to activate defensive protocols, and failed. Every command flashed red. Overridden, 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 except one. Commander Rourke stared at the console in disbelief. "The only accepted authority is her." Lyra placed her hand on the biometric pad. It glowed instantly. "Commander Vale. Authorized." The Aquila roared awake. Engines surged, countermeasures deployed, missile bays unlocked with a deep shuddering groan. Cadets stared like they were witnessing a ghost, commanding a giant, back from the dead. Rourke stepped beside her. "Why would they attack us? This is an academy. These are students." Lyra's voice softened, breaking through her hardened silence. "They aren't here for the students. They're here for something I left behind." She tapped the control panel. A sealed compartment opened near the bridge, revealing a black case with a biometric lock. Cadet Avery whispered, What is that?" "The last surviving record of Operation Harpsight," she said, "and the real reason I disappeared." The enemy frigate launched its second shot, this one not a warning. Lyra grabbed the case. "Get these cadets below, now." "But what about you?" Rourke asked. She met his eyes, steady, resolute. "I'm done running." The enemy frigate attempted to jam the ship again, but Lyra had already input the one command that only she could give. "Lock target." The Aquila obeyed like a loyal beast awakening after years of captivity. Target acquired, weapons primed, hull braced. For the first time in years, Lyra Vale stood exactly where she belonged. The comms crackled again. "Vale, surrender the record." She lifted her chin. "You tried to erase me. You tried to bury what we found. But you forgot one thing." She stepped into the command circle, light reflecting in her storm-scarred eyes. "I don't surrender." The Aquila fired. One precise surgical strike. The enemy frigate vanished beneath a wave of fire and steel. Silence fell across the water. Cadets peeked from the stairwell, trembling, awestruck. Commander Rourke looked at her with something between respect and disbelief. "Why come back now?" Lyra finally answered. "Because they weren't after me anymore. They were coming for the academy, and I refused to let the next generation die for a secret I never should have survived." The Aquila's light steadied. The sea grew quiet, and for the first time in their lives, the cadets understood exactly what kind of legend had returned to stand among them. Commander Lyra Vale wasn't lost. She had come back to protect the future they didn't even know was under threat.